Welcome everyone to the third public forum and the fifth RCTV live broadcast. Today we'll be interviewing Darren Tomlinson. Please excuse these beautiful decorations. Our FFA chapter is hosting their annual banquet later tonight. Without further ado, let's introduce today's candidate. Darren is from St. George, Kansas, and is currently the Assistant Principal and Activities Director at RCHS. Previously, Darren served as a high school social studies teacher at Washington High School in Kansas City, Kansas. Darren earned a bachelor's degree in secondary education and history from Drury University. Off to Spliegel.
Hey, good afternoon. We appreciate those joining us in attendance and as well as those joining us virtually for our meet and greet for candidate number 3 for the Rock Creek High School principal position, Darren Tomlinson. Without further ado, I'll turn it over to Christy and Darren to go through some questions.
Good afternoon, Darren. These questions were prepared by the Board of Education and the high school PTO for you to answer. And our first question is, describe your experiences as an instructional leader and what that might look like in a 4A high school.
You know, in my role, I've been activities director and assistant principal here at Rock Creek for the last 7 years. In that job, in regards to being with instruction, in regards to that, I've had the opportunity to observe many classrooms and provide feedback in regards to what we've been able to do with the classes, focusing in on kind of the direction, observing, giving positive feedback, and turn around noting the things that people do well and giving some questions for improvement, kind of addressing some things. Every once in a while, there are some things that we need to work on immediately and get fixed, but for the most part, that's been my last 7 years. Prior to that, as a teacher inside of Kansas City, Kansas, I had the opportunity to be part of the literacy design team, talking about how we're going to improve literacy inside of our high school and how we're going to improve that, and involved in teaching teachers how to get kids involved in writing, how to improve their literacy skills, techniques that they could turn around and use to improve in regards to that. I've assisted to the mentor process for multiple teachers. I've been part of the induction process for new teachers for our building multiple times. Taking a look at those things, I feel like I've always been available and I've always been willing to turn around and help teachers engage in classroom management strategies. Back then, I felt like I was a very good mentor in regards to those typical types of things. And that hasn't been something I've felt like I've been able to turn around and pursue as much in the assistant principal as activities director role here at Rock Creek. I feel like that's one of those things that I would really like to get back to, and I really look forward to getting involved with.
How would you ensure and measure accountability of staff and faculty in our district?
You know, I think the most important thing is making sure that we're all on the same page moving forward and that we have clear expectations about what it is we're trying to see across the board. And that starts off with making sure we're all clear on the mission and vision of the school, what is the direction we want to go, making sure that that's a collaborative process, that we all ensure buy-in. And I think it's a lot easier to understand where we're going if we all understand that we're operating from a common perception. So understand the expectations, and the expectations are shared expectations that we hold for each other in regards to the staff. It's not me holding everyone accountable, but these are expectations that we are holding everybody accountable to in regards to proceeding, in regards to the expectations that we got. From there, it's being willing to have the conversations about these are the expectations that we all share, that you agreed to, and being able to move forward and addressing those types of things from there. And then if we're still seeing some violations and stuff like that, being able to have clear, direct conversations about the things that are going on, making sure people understand where we're at, and being able to set very clear guidelines about how we're going to move forward. And being willing to have those conversations about how things are going. Making sure that we always remember, in regards to when it comes down to that we're working with people, that we have families, that people are parents, that people have loved ones, and remember that there's a human face of the people that we're working with every time. I think that's a really important piece that when we have these conversations that we always remember. And that's been some lessons I've learned in my job right here. So.
How would you approach building strong relationships with students, parents, staff, and the broader community to ensure a collaborative and supportive school environment?
I think it starts with communication, making sure that we have solid communication about what we're trying to do as a building, and making sure that we all, again, coming to the common expectations that we have, but then sharing that information out with the community in general. I think there's a lot of areas that we can improve in our communication. I think one of my goals, if I become the principal, is get a principal communication out at least once a month, talking about the focus that we're focusing in on. Now, Rock Creek High School has experienced my communications for the last 7 years. They've developed into 3-page long communications. One of my goals would be to turn around and narrow that focus down as a principal, because I think the principal's focus needs to be very narrow, very specific about how we approach things. I think that I do a good job of recognizing the vast majority of good things that we have here. I think that every once in a while there may be a gap. I want to make sure that the principal's job kind of catches some of those things and make sure we recognize the really good things that are happening here. The website needs to be improved on. We have a high school website. Yes, that's a thing that we do have. We want to turn around and make sure that's really functional, really usable for our entire families, and making sure that we use that to communicate some of our key information out there to what we have. Being available in regards to having an open door policy, making sure I'm always being responsive to emails, and making sure I'm getting that information back out to people is very critical. And then making sure that I'm visible at events. As an activities director, I feel like I'm fairly visible at events. But one of the things that I feel the principal's position also needs to do is they also need to be present and they need to be available and be able to talk about things and show and share the good things that are happening with that, and cheering on our kids and making sure they know that you care about it and you're there to turn around and make sure you want to make sure they're seeing success.
What specific strategies would you use to ensure consistent, transparent communication with parents throughout the school year?
Again, coming back to a monthly or bi-weekly communication that goes out, making sure our website is up to date consistently, and then being responsive consistently and to emails that are being sent out to me. And making sure we're just, even if it's an email saying we're going to turn around and take a look at this and we'll get back with you, and then making sure I'm following up with that communication through the email. But again, I think the website and I think having that communication piece that's going out monthly, I think that'll be very, and again, the communication needs to be focused. It doesn't need to be, it doesn't need to cover everything. It needs to be focused on the main things that we need people to know.
What strategies would you use to address challenges unique to small rural schools, such as limited resources, staffing, or access to extracurricular opportunities, while maintaining high educational standards?
So one of the things that we always have to take a look at is what resources do we have available? And then one of the really nice things about Rock Creek is we have a lot of people out there who are willing to help out and support our programs. Finding ways to turn around and find those partnerships can be one of the things that we can definitely leverage to improve those different pieces, and be able to turn around and fill in some of the gaps from a resource standpoint that we may be missing from other areas. Having that, and that's, again, just making sure you get to know people, making sure you have those conversations, making sure people are aware of what's happening in the building. So that could be an opportunity for some of those monthly conversations as well, some of those monthly emails as well.
How would you advocate for our high school students, staff, and families when working with the superintendent, school board, and the legislature, particularly when it comes to securing our resources, supporting academic programs, and addressing our school's specific needs?
You know, one of the things I really like about that question is working with the school board, working with our legislature. I think that there's an opportunity for me to grow in regards to that, to turn around and start making my voice a little bit more known when it comes down to the needs of our school. Case in point, right now the legislature is currently working through legislation in regards to phone policies. I firmly believe that there needs to be a local decision. And I think that they need to hear from our local school or local schools areas about those different pieces in regards to that. I feel that the best decisions in regards to some of the things that we have going on is based off our local school board and the decisions that we are making inside of here, and that reflects the values of our communities. Not every community is going to have the same values. So it's important to turn around and be able to advocate for that. The other thing about it is that we need to make sure we're all always working together to make sure we're maximizing the resources across the school district. But as a principal, I mean, my job is to advocate for the needs of the school, of the high school. And sometimes there are some things that we end up having, and I need to be able to push a little bit in regards to the needs for the high school, just like a coach would end up pushing for the things for their needs. I need to be willing to be able to do that.
Darren, those are all the questions that we have for you today. We want to thank you for being here with us.
Well, thank you.
Thank you for all in attendance. If you will please sign your name on the sign-in sheet on the table by the door, we appreciate it.
Thanks for being here, guys.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Please make sure to check out our other Rock Creek information, Rock Creek Journalism on Instagram, RCTV on YouTube, and rchoofprint.org. We thank you again for tuning in, and our future stream dates will appear on the screen now.